I thought it was a really good effort. We made progress from the first scrimmage to the second one. Certainly, there's areas of improvement, but much more aggressive play. I thought by and large, we were very disciplined offensively. I don't think we had a jump. Maybe we had a jump off size, but really pleased with that. And during the course of a spring, when you're adding all these new offensive sets and formations and movements, that's good discipline by our football team. Certainly there were big plays offensively, which is exciting to see. On the flip side, as a defensive coach, you get a little bit concerned about those things, but you're never going to have everything perfect. I thought our defensive line play, particularly Patrick Mertens, had some strong presence on our defensive front, and Blair Burns did some great things at the corner position, not only coverage, but also I thought he had some really crisp tackles. We're in the middle of a competitive quarterback competition. That's a work in progress. Coach Vegan and I will spend a great deal of time going through our tape and staging our depth chart. I would think that we're still going to be evaluating that during the course of spring, but there were some good things offensively out there, and DJ did a great job running the football. I would like him to get a little bit better at putting his foot in the ground and going north and south, but he did make a couple guys miss. So good progress, but still more room to go. So questions?
Craig, what did you see particularly from the quarterbacks? Did anything stand out to the naked eye to you from any of those four guys today?
Well, today we did not have them in blue jerseys, and so they were all exposed to tackling. I feel like it's important for us to recognize that what it feels like to take a sack, and also from a defensive perspective, how you've got to be able to make sure you've got your rush lanes taken care of. I thought our guys utilized their feet well. Balls on the ground a little bit too much. Sometimes flagging the football, and that comes into play when you're not going to get hit. And so we exposed them to some injury, but we've got to have a clear evaluation. And each guy did some things well, and I'd like to take a look at the tape before we make a broad-based comment on that.
Do you see a comfort level starting to build with these guys, though, within that offense, within what they're learning on offense?
Well, it's a great question, and the answer is yes. I thought today we had made significant improvement. It starts to look like football, which is encouraging from a head coach's perspective. And so I think there's more confidence, understanding of the system. However, we're still elementary, but it was, you saw some things that go, okay, it's starting to look how we should look.
Coach, you mentioned Blair Burns there. How nice is it to have a corner there who is a senior and has played for 3 seasons coming into this one?
Well, maturity really comes into play, and along with that, he's a competitive player, and he's got good ability, whether it's defending the pass or many times you'll see a corner who's just a cover corner, but they really don't want to mix it up and tackle well, and I was really encouraged to see what he did. I know in the Mountain West Conference, the field is spread. You get athletes that are placed in one-on-one situations. To have his ability combined with his experience and maturity is certainly going to help our defense.
Craig, when you look, it's still, you got evaluation left this week of spring, but are there any areas that really concern you? I know as a coach you're probably concerned about everything, but
yeah, as you know, head coach as well.
Right, but are there any glaring concerns, as you head into your final week of spring of some areas or some things you've been seeing that need to get either cleaned up or worked on?
I think we need to take care of the football a little bit more. For us, how we'll stage our football team is we're really going to minimize turnovers of the ball on the ground, and so from that perspective, I think we need to improve there. And then the other thing, I was concerned, we got beat over the top a couple times on defense, and you're going to get a couple plays when the ball's up in the air and you go up and you contest it and the offense makes a play. You know what? We'll be fine with that. What you do get concerned is when somebody's behind you 2 steps and makes a play, and so that's the kind of the give and take we talked about at the beginning. I was happy with some of the big plays we had offensively, but I think we've got to shore some things up defensively as far as when the ball goes up. And I know, in our league that the ball's going to go up. We got to make some plays here.
You mentioned that you liked the wide receivers last week, and you mentioned some big plays today. Did anyone stand out, and what do you think of the wide receiver play today?
Well, overall, I thought a lot of our guys made some big plays. I will say Keenan Montgomery got he got shellacked right at the end. And, you know, how much of a concussion, or whether he received a concussion, but it was a really physical play. And, you know, he's out there scrapping, but we'll hopefully see him bounce back next week.
Craig, as you go into your last week of spring, I know you'll come up with a depth chart, a fluid one, of course, but will it be a lot of the same things with the double reps, or once you develop that depth chart, will you maybe emphasize some things with maybe those top 2 guys at each position, or how will this last week of spring go,
No,
I guess?
we're going to continue to grind away with implementing our systems. The repetition of practice will not cut back. And a couple of these guys, their tongues are dragging on the ground when they walk off the practice field, and that's good. And they recognize that's good because, you know, we're trying to catch up with our system. If we had a fifth-year senior group who have, you know, run the power play countless number of times, it'd be different, but we're not in that position. We'll take a look to maybe staging a couple different things in practice. Today we did that. We put our defense and offense in red zone situations a couple times, and I was pleased with how our offense responded. I think we scored a pretty good number down there. And we'll look at a couple other things. I think also we'll integrate some more things in the kicking game, particularly kickoff and kickoff return for our spring game. And the staging of the spring game, it'll be like a game, clock and game, split squads and everything else. So those last portions of our kicking game will need to be installed this week.
You mentioned a lot. Sorry, you mentioned a lot about controlling the line of scrimmage. Did either side do that particularly well today, or just what you
said? As I was saying earlier, I thought Patrick really did a great job, and it was so the ends. But there were some plays that popped out in the running game too, and so you know, I need to make a measure. And invariably, I don't know how many times I've said one thing, and then I take a look at the tape and go, oh, man, it's not exactly what I thought. So I'm a fairly mature football coach. I'm going to hold some judgments. I won't take anything back on Monday. Yeah, we are. Not as much as what we would like, but there are more guys that can come in and play. And that comes into building depth through the double reps. You know, the guy's going to get better by having his hand in the dirt as opposed to standing on the sidelines. And so we'll need to have depth and more competition.